Sure, there we go.
There
Here
we
he is.
go. How you doing, Tom?
Good. How are you?
Good. Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
We had the two most winningest gutless gangsters of all time from the same team on the same call here tonight. Incredible. We have the new gutless goat and the almost gutless goat. We got Tom and we got Dylan with us. So if we can just kick it off with you guys telling us how much weight you lost during the 8-week gutless challenge. What's your name? How much weight you lost? Very simple. We'll just start there. Start with Tom.
All right. Tom Lockenauer lost 63 pounds.
And
Yep.
Dylan.
And I'm Dylan Smith, and I was kind enough to lose 58 pounds to allow Tom to go. Dylan Smith, 58 pounds.
Amazing. And the former gutless goat was Danny Marteau. He lost 50 pounds in 8 weeks, and we did not think we'd see that record broken for some time.
Congratulations. To the spoils goes the victor, or to the victor goes the spoils, whatever it is. But this is it, baby. This belt is well-deserved, Tom. Good for you. Good for your family. Wear it with pride and honor the code and the oath that goes along with having this belt. So there it is, guys. Congrats again.
But both these guys crushed that record and went head-to-head. And it was really enjoyable to watch this goat chase and the goat competition, especially towards the end, while you guys were pulling out all the stops and just, same team, but best friends forced to do battle sort of situation. If you can talk us through what that was like. And, in the beginning, you did such a good job at communicating every day, inspiring each other. The pods are one of the most powerful and most popular parts of the program. If you could kind of talk us through your process as the Killer Bees. You lost one to COVID, but you guys kind of formed a 2-man unit and did some that nobody has ever seen happen in the Gutless gang.
It was interesting from the get-go. We almost kind of felt like underdogs from the get-go. And I think the first time we jumped on our FaceTime call with Dylan and Jason, we kind of talked about that. And we definitely fed off each other this whole time, talking on a daily basis, and the boss man too. He'd banter back and forth and kind of in his own way, kind of pit us against each other in his own fun way. So no, definitely a fun competition there that just continued to grow and grow and grow. Through the process, not knowing what I was getting into when I started this, except for seeing Bob's post. Talk about initially me kind of stepping out to something uncomfortable that turned out to be absolutely wonderful for me and my health, my family, my kids still can't believe the weight that I've lost. They're afraid I'm going to blow away.
What are they saying, the kiddos?
Oh, they just they said I looked like an entirely different person, and it was interesting. We had every Monday we've got a kind of an all teams meeting at work and with ownership and as people are out of the office and we're starting to bring people back in, the majority owner said, "Hey, you guys need to come back in the office just to see Tom and the weight that he's lost over the last 8 weeks." So, so pretty, pretty cool, pretty great. I mean, great experience, and I'm just looking forward to the future.
Awesome. Can you tilt your screen down just a little bit so we can see more of you? There we go. What's left of you, I should say.
I'm back in that skinny side of the closet.
That's right.
I love it. I love it, man. And so, talk us through some of the motivations for signing up for Gutless and kind of where you were at mentally and physically when you joined us versus where you are today, 8 weeks later.
I'd say the majority of my life I was in pretty good shape, and then I think life and work take over sometimes. And I was part of a sizable project, and was at the beginning of it was probably some of the best shape of my life. And just over 2.5 years, just it kind of encompassed me. The work just took over and wasn't quick. It was I was going to the gym 5 days. I can go 4 days and still get away with it. At 3 days, 2 days, and pretty much it turned into zero. And then here I am, 50 pounds heavier when the pandemic hit. And from there, it was just come home from work and, hey, yeah, I'll just have a cocktail tonight, and hey, have a cocktail tomorrow night too, and it just kind of kept snowballing, and it was just in a horrible space. I didn't like who I'd become, didn't like who I saw in the mirror, and guarantee that I'm sure the family felt a lot of that too, with how I was feeling.
Yeah.
So when I first saw the post, I want to say I saw Bob's post maybe around Thanksgiving, and saw it, kind of glanced at it, and then it popped up. It actually popped up on New Year's Eve. We were at some friend's house, and my wife said, "Well, hey, we got to go see." I said, "I'll be out in 15, 20 minutes." I was watching the webinar, and watched the entire webinar, and then that's when I sent off the email that I knew I needed to make a change. It just wasn't. I was in a horrible spot. Just didn't feel good about myself. Felt unhealthy. Apnea, waking up in the middle of the night choking for air. The heaviest I had ever been. I had never. I'd gotten up to that, 250, 260 before, but never topped the scales at 275, 280 pounds. It just wasn't me. I mean, that's when I knew I had to make it, and just glad that I saw that post and followed through and was able to get on a pathway quick with you, coach.
And how about now? How are you feeling?
Oh, I mean, it's the knees feel great, the back feels great.
Sleep apnea is gone.
Sleep apnea is gone. I haven't. I'd say maybe after the first or second week. I think after I dropped around the 20 pounds, it kind of went away and just gotten better, and haven't had to take my fast acting inhaler at all, asthma wise. I know I asked my wife a couple weeks ago how the snoring was, and really the snoring's gone away too. So I mean, just all those changes of getting a solid night's sleep, and waking up not knowing that you're not have to worry about whether you're going to wake up choking for air or take your inhaler, or whatever. I mean, entirely different person. And then my knees, I've got a knee that major injury about 5 years ago. Had to drill my leg 12 times to put it back together, and before this, struggling going up and down stairs, and the last couple of weeks I've been running up and down those same stairs that I was struggling going up and down 3 months ago, and talking to the doctor 6 months ago about 44 years old and possibly having a knee replacement, to being somewhere in an entirely different spot, middle of March.
Incredible. Yeah. Incredible. So now just say, my name's Tom. I am the new Gutless Goat. I lost 63 pounds with Gutless. Let's go.
My name is Tom. I am the new Gutless Goat. I lost 63 pounds with Gutless.
Let's go.
Let's go.
And, amazing, brother. And so we'll get some back and forth, some dialogue going in just a second. So Dylan, my man, 58 pounds, and you had the fiercest competitor of all time in your class. So you would be the Gutless Goat if it wasn't for this gnarly SOB on the line with us here today. But yeah, if you could just talk us through kind of where you were at when you started Gutless, and your experience with Gutless, and then also where you ended up and some of the changes that took place, having lost 58 pounds in 8 weeks, which is just phenomenal. I mean,
58 pounds. Yeah. I mean, I haven't been able to wipe the smile off my face, mate. Having a newfound neck is, I'm just enjoying it. So, I got to say, first up, there is never a convenient time to take that plunge. There's never a comfortable or convenient time, because by virtue of the fact that I found myself in that morbidly obese, incredibly unhealthy space, it's just a really uncomfortable, shocking moment of action that needed to be taken, and there's never a convenient sort of moment to take the plunge. But I'm so grateful that I did. It was a series of small things that, for me at least, contributed to me realizing, well, shit, I needed to take an action. And it was a referral from somebody else who had done the program. Ultimately, there was no hard pitch. He just said, "Hey, mate, I've done this. Thought you might be interested in this." He didn't make me feel bad about myself. And then I was like, well, that combined with a few other factors, I was so grateful just to take that initial step. And then the rest is history.
Amazing. And so coming out of it, obviously you're feeling great. And then coming into it, where were you at mentally, physically?
Yeah, I mean, so going into it, I was pretty humble. Tom used the term, he felt like we were the underdogs. We were very modest in our attitude and our sort of presence initially, because we were grossly overweight and incredibly, just days earlier, pretty unmotivated, and driven by quick fixes with food and poor habits with eating and stuff like that. And so both of us had a lot of weight to lose. Neither of us anticipated getting to 50, let alone shattering that 50 record and getting up to the lofty heights of 60 and plus, so both of us were just laser focused initially on that week, on that very first week. All that mattered was just doing well one day at a time. We weren't distracted. Neither of us committed to being a goat chaser. Neither of us actually ever said that at the start. All that we wanted to do was, lose some weight. My initial goal was 30 pounds, and then it turned into 36 after a conversation with you. And Tom was aiming for 45. And so, it was just one day at a time, which then turned into 1 week at a time. And then, neither of us had posted a live video before on Facebook, and neither of us had really put ourselves out there. And so, as I said, I can't sort of emphasize enough how humble and modest we were to begin with. And we still are. Like, as much as I'm speaking with a bit more confidence in my voice now, we're both, neither of us are complacent about the fact that we've still got this is a life change, and we've got work to do every day to make sure we stay healthy and do well.
Love to hear that, because I went live today and talked about how gutless is like brushing your teeth, and you can only skip so many days before your teeth start to rot and fall apart. So with gutless, your teeth metaphorically are sparkling white and good to go. But if you lay off the gas, if you stop eating gutless grub, you get more options, more variety towards the end. But if you slow down on your commitments and just go back to what you were doing, eventually you're going to end up right back where you started. So
yeah, I mean, and the other thing about that, to use that analogy, initially nobody's going to perhaps realize, if you skip brushing your teeth, no, you could get away with it for a little bit, but eventually you start to have rank breath. Eventually you're going to be fat, or it's, initially perhaps a few pounds people aren't going to notice, but right. And it's not until it's too late, till that tooth is decaying or the weight is packed on, right, that you've got to pull that ripcord, and it doesn't need to be that way. And I think that's one of the benefits of this program, is that neither Tom nor I, and none of us claimed to be perfect, but because of the simplicity of the challenge and the simplicity and the camaraderie, it was okay to not be perfect, because you were able to do really well at a couple of things, and then over time increase your excellence in another area, and that was okay to pull different levers at different times.
Yeah, so the levers, they're simple, right? And they're rolled out systematically, so you're never overwhelmed, and then you master one at a time. And then towards the end, you guys are pulling all three and doing all the hormonal bits and pieces of the program too, to boost your testosterone, and then it all comes together and crazy things happen. But the beauty and the complexity, oddly, is in the simplicity. Things that are complicated are not easy to follow. They cause frustration, and then people quit. So it's good to hear that this is something you completely had mastered, and obviously have, because we're looking at the best results ever out of you too. But more importantly, something you think you can continue doing for the rest of your life, because really that's my objective, is to demystify weight loss. And by the end of this, you know what works and what doesn't. You know what's bullshit and what you need to focus on. And what you need to focus on is pretty simple, but that's the hard part, is not getting distracted with all the nonsense and fooling yourself into thinking there are other ways to make this happen. And hopefully you guys know at this point, this is the way.
Yeah.
And I say that on pathway calls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that there's no magic wand, or there's no trick as well. I think, there's always banter and a bit of conversation about different things, but on the exercise front, you say the measure is a sweatshirt. I want to see you sweat. That's just so simple, and so if you can't run, that's fine. But which I can't. My knees are shit. But for me, I knew that to get a sweat on, it would take a lot longer. And so I'd found the highest peak in the city, and I'd walk up there and it would still sweat up a storm. And that was day one. And then I committed to doing that, right through to the very end. And then you add stuff as you go. The simplicity of it absolutely worked for both of us.
Yeah, amazing. We probably should have started with this, but tell us a little bit about yourself. So where you live, what you do for work, home life. Both of you are dads. Tom to an actual human, and then Dylan is a dog dad to
yes.
a little fellow named Sheriff.
Yes.
Either or. Go ahead.
I'll go. I live in Novato, California. Grew up, born and raised in Marin County. By electrician by trade. I moved into the office several years ago after a couple car wrecks and knee injury. So working as a division manager for a large commercial electrical contractor in Northern California. Married, I'll be 24 years in July. Started married young, had kids young. I've got my daughter just turned 20. My daughter just turned 24 last week, 2 weeks ago, and my son turned 21 in January. So they're both daughter graduated college. She's teaching. My son's actually just starting up a wholesale fish company in Bodega Bay with a good family friend. My wife teaches, and really, I got to say, besides the pod, the support that she gave me through this whole thing, and cooked most of the meals, and enjoyed the meals, because they are, simple and good. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. Dylan.
Let me show you. Here's my.
Hey, there he is, little guy. And we had banter going the whole time that if Dylan didn't break 50 pounds, I was going to take
the dog
because I love dogs. And
he's
a cute little doggy.
A good boy. And he was shocked at the level of activity that he was getting, and grateful. He's never been healthier, which is a good thing. So I'm an Australian. I moved over here to California years ago. I'm in the tech industry in California, and over the last several years, I travel a lot prior to the pandemic. I've traveled a ton with work, and there were a couple of years there where I was away from home for 2/3 of the year at least, 200 days out of the year. And that was enough of a reason as any to start packing on the pounds. So to start becoming unhealthier habits creeping in, or finding what reason to let myself pack it on. And so over several years, like a lot of people, it just crept on and on and on. And then, I live here in San Francisco with my husband, who's an ICU nurse and has been, obviously working big hours over the last 12 months. So like everyone, it was a hectic year. It was a big year for us. But toward the end of it, as we started to see light at the end of the tunnel, we realized that we didn't when summer rolls around and we're all vaccinated, we wanted to feel good and be as excited, feel and look good for the end of the pandemic. And so that was another motivating factor for us to jump in.
Timely, very timely.
Mm.
Great, thank you. And so, for both you guys, what would you say to men out there who are watching this who have been stuck for a long time? They've tried a lot of different things. A lot of different things haven't worked. They're feeling kind of hopeless and considering signing up for Gutless. What would you say to those guys, having just been through this process? You're fresh out on the other side, but not too long ago, you were in that exact mindset they're in right now, thinking, it's probably too late for me. I'm just too old. I'm just too this. I'm just too that. Over the hill. I've tried a lot of stuff. Nothing has worked. What would you say to them?
This is the program. This is the choice. I think, the one thing is to get this group of men together. And like Dylan said, I had to step entirely out of my comfort zone on some of this stuff, but to have each and every one of those guys to reach out to, and they're, as we're posting stuff, you're getting the support, you're having conversations on via text or messenger. We're challenging each other. I've said it once, to say it again. I'll keep saying it. It's the greatest. I mean, really, the one thing that's worked for me, having everybody to reach out to. That Dylan and I would text first thing in the morning. I'd give him crap as he stepped on the scale, because I know he wouldn't step on the scale for an entire week, and I've got to look at it 10 times a day. So, no, I mean, just a great program. You're going to get, you get in, you get out what you put into it. And whether that's the 10 pounds or the 63 pounds or the 58 pounds, but just the overall support of the entire group, not just of the active group, but other graduates. As the Grizzlies moved along, more people got involved, and it just made it that much more fun and more motivating, knowing that they were getting excited for the entire group that was going on. Was going on with the entire group.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I agree with all that. The other things I would say is that it is okay. Chances are, if you're watching this or you're hearing this, you somewhere in you have there's a part of you that realizes you have to do something. You've probably tried a ton of stuff. You might have had a great deal of success at some stuff, but chances are you've packed it back on. Probably, and some, because we all had those paths. We all went and did stuff and had a degree of success for a period of time, but incrementally, increased the packing on of the weight. There isn't a person who entered this program who didn't hit a great deal of success, who didn't draw strength from the way it's written and the way it's sort of structured. And we all come from different walks of life. We're all busy. Everyone is successful in their own right. And so it's a great support for men. So that would be my message to people who are considering jumping in. I would say we all know that you've had some degrees of success. This is unique. This is a different kind of a program, and all that you need to do at this point is take the plunge, take a step, and the rest will click into place.
Nice. And then just say, Gutless works.
Gutless works.
Gutless works.
Love it. I mean, I hate to have to ask you to say it. You said that in not so many words, but
yeah.
So a lot of times
it does. That's that is the first reason. That is the reason you should do it, is that Gutless works.
Yeah.
That's the first thing to know. Secondly, it is easy and simple. The toughest decision to make is just to take the step and get in the program.
Love it.
And I think what Dylan said, you get to eat. You get to eat, and the food's good. And I was a big eater, yeah. I
mean, you have a seafood business on your, of
Not
course
me,
the food's good. You just told us you had a seafood empire. For the rest of us,
seafood and I eat it, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I think that about wraps it up. It's a great call, and I'm so proud of both of you. I'm blown away by what you guys did, and was so impressed by how you leveraged the program. You know, every piece of the puzzle, you put it together, and you put everything you possibly had in you into this program. And like you guys both said, what you put in is what you get out. You guys both earned your keep here, and I hope to continue to see you guys doing that in the gang. And Gutless Elite, as we talk about, doesn't go anywhere. So as much as you want to use it, it's there for you. And then there's always Bravado for people who want to continue with the calls. And then Dylan's doing another round. So I'll see plenty of you very soon.
Yeah.
And then
Yes,
Tom,
we
I'll
will.
see you in Bravado. But
Yep.
and remember what you guys said about how inspired you were by the previous classes coming in and supporting the current class. That's a part of the culture. So when you see the next round of guys going through, remember how encouraging and inspiring that was for you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to, again, starting being humble at the start and sort of giving others the opportunity to find their feet, perhaps initially. But I'll be lighting a fire under my, plenty of them. Don't you worry.
Danny Marteau told me that you texted him privately and you're like, we got to start talking about how we're going to do the belt handoff.
So it's an interesting take on so I texted him to say, let's have a call. And I actually, so that was 2 weeks prior to the end when I essentially had hit 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And I had a wonderful call with him, felt motivated. And then I let him know there's actually 3 fellas who are likely going to smash his record, which was news to him. And, which is just such a great thing. So, but no, I was under no illusion, ever under any illusion that Tom was always, breathing down my neck and ready to snatch the belt.
That's fantastic. And for those of you guys listening in, there's a Gutless GOAT WWF style wrestling belt that Tom has now won and is en route on his way to his house. Danny Marteau actually called his shot and had that belt made before he hit 50 pounds and beat CJ. So very ballsy thing to do. And then, kind of continuing that tradition of calling your shot. Dylan, you were posting some stuff, you and your belt as a little kid.
Oh yeah.
I've been doing this for a little while.
Talking shit, because I knew, Tom was galloping ahead very fast. So
no, it's great.
I needed all the more reason to lather up, talk up.
It was
light
so
that
fun.
fire. You lit that fire.
Exactly. All right, guys. Well, bring it up. 5 fingers, make a fist. Gutless gang. Talk to you guys soon.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Coach.